Hello brothers, and welcome back to the channel. We had a pretty exciting trailer drop yesterday that teased the new operation that's landing very soon, as well as the new sidearm and the new lethal difficulty that's coming alongside of it. With the game now into its second month after launch, many players have reached the end game. They're now sitting on lots of relic tier weapons and level 25 characters and looking for new content to dive into, and especially a new challenge, since many players have now conquered the pinnacle difficulty level in Ruthless and are even soloing it pretty consistently. So the question today is, how should you prep for the new lethal difficulty level? What actionable steps can you take today to get your Astartes ready for the day lethal drops so you can dive right in with zero hesitation? Well, I've got 3 things for you today, so let's get started with preparation step number 1. First up, you're going to want to diversify your builds. Everyone knows that each operation brings its own unique challenges. For example, the way the reliquary operation breaks down, it's best to have really good ranged chunk damage on the table for your team for doing big damage to the Helldrake, so you don't have to survive in the final room for quite so long. Tacticals are very useful too because of the clustering of enemies and the scan debuff on the dragon. Heavies are especially useful in Vox Liberatus due to the tight quarters with big waves of chaos enemies. And a strong melee game is important on Inferno while still having a good ranged weapon to deal with the Zoanthrope and Neurothrope spawns. Essentially, we don't know the mechanics or the landscape of this new operation besides a couple of short clips in the trailer, but it's safe to assume there's going to be a big boss fight if you saw that trailer. So make sure that you have at least 2 classes leveled up and ready to go, and don't double dip, right? Like doing Assault and Bulwark would be a bad idea because they both excel at ad clearing in melee combat. You want something that can cook up close and something that can cook far away, or something that's maybe a hybrid like Tactical or Vanguard. But you can also diversify within the same class. So for example, if you love Vanguard, you're going to want to make sure that you have a Melta build ready to go, if that's really the way that these new operations are headed, but also have that Instigator build up and running as well. On Heavy, get that Multi-Melta maxed out, but also start working on either the Heavy Bolter or the Heavy Plasma as well. Tactical can do Stalker, and it can do a standard bolt rifle to have all the bases covered, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. Ultimately, you don't know what your teammates are going to be bringing to the table. So it's best to prepare to plug any gaps in the team composition so you're not left in a situation where you have one massive enemy that's out of melee reach and you've got a Bulwark, an Assault, and a Multi-Melta Heavy all just standing there tickling the thing with pistols. So regardless of whether you're playing the new operation on Lethal or any of the others, you're going to be doing yourself a favor by having a diverse range of options to play as for your team. Alright, let's move on. Preparation step number 2. Start low manning Ruthless operations right now. If you're not familiar with the term low manning, it simply means going in with fewer than the maximum number of teammates. So in this case, it means running Ruthless operations on private mode and bringing only one friend with you or none at all and just running solo. The great thing about doing this is it teaches you how to manage high pressure situations. When you have teammates who know what they're doing, right now it's really hard to end up in a situation where you have like an Extremis in play as well as a massive wave with gaunts and majors with both ranged weapons like the vine spreading venom launchers and the whips that have delayed timing for parries. Usually, someone is taking care of like one of those things while you're dealing with another. But when you low man or solo Ruthless operations, you'll be forced to find a way to deal with all of those things at once, and it's all on your shoulders. That's the best way to learn things like the parry timing on the whip attack that has a delay between attacks 1 and 2 to punish players for spamming the parry button. And then you'll also learn that, hey, that delay is just long enough that I can zoom in and take a shot at a different enemy and then snap back and parry number 2 and then leave the gun strike while you heavy melee a different enemy and then come back and take the gun strike. So it's the cadence of battle that you have to learn, and it's sort of a baptism by fire. You can't know how to swim in the deep end until you take the plunge, because I'm willing to bet that on lethal mode, you're going to be forced to step up more often than in Ruthless, where a teammate or even 2 will go down, leaving you to manage all the threats on the table alone. If you're not used to that kind of pressure, you'll likely pull an Ocean Gate and crumple pretty fast. But if you put yourself in the hyperbolic chamber enough times, you'll start to feel like that pressure is just the normal atmosphere, and anything less than that is a cakewalk. So take the plunge and start practicing solo or duo ruthless clears today. And finally, that brings us to preparation step number 3. I recommend you start stockpiling resources now. So the truth of the matter is that we don't have a clue what to expect from Lethal, but it's safe to say that if the only thing Lethal offers is more XP and a greater challenge, then it won't have a lot of staying power. Most players diving in are already maxed out, so XP is irrelevant. And the challenge alone will lose its appeal quickly unless there's another reason to play. So chances are pretty decent that there will be some kind of tangible progression tied to the new Lethal difficulty, and you may find that it requires a surplus of currency or relic armory data. So I'd make sure that you're sitting on 990 max currency for launch day, and also have 20 relic armory data piled up and ready to spend as well. There's no guarantee that you'll need them, but the last thing you want to do is clear Lethal and have nothing to show for it because you weren't able to spend your capital to capitalize on your victory. So go ahead and start the process of building up your storehouses now, just in case. I personally can't wait to take on the new difficulty tier. Ruthless is basically all I play anymore just because our guns and our classes have become so powerful that anything less than that just feels somewhat trivial, especially after the patches that made the game easier by giving us access to more armor charges more regularly, while also taking enemies off the field of play so we don't get as overwhelmed. So I'm ready for the new challenge that Lethal will present, but even beyond that, I know we have a long time to wait, but seriously, Horde mode can't come soon enough. I think that's where brothers become Primarchs and prove their mettle. Can't wait. If you're looking for a great community of Astartes to play with, who play this game regularly, who form up teams together to farm and hang out, hey, feel free to check out our private Discord community, now about 150 brothers and sisters, by the way, strong. You can check the link in the description or the pinned comment to check out our Patreon page and click on that super cheap $3 tier to gain access to our hidden Space Marine rooms. If you have a Discord account linked to your Patreon account in your account settings, you'll automatically receive the proper invite. If you have trouble with that, just reply to my most recent post there on the Patreon page and let me know what your Discord name is, and we can get you sorted out manually. Thanks so much for watching the video today and for the consistent support on the channel since we started covering this game. It's been an absolute pleasure to play and grind and edit videos for Space Marine 2, and getting to know so many of you through our Discord group has been amazing too. Be sure to leave a comment detailing any additional preparation tips you might add to my list, and with that I say, be warm and well fed, my friends. Courage and honor.